On December 18th, 1994, 27-year-old Alison Botha returned home after an evening with friends. As she sat in her car, a man with a knife forced his way in and took control, driving her to pick up an accomplice. With both attackers, Franz Dutoit and Theuns Kruger, now in the car, they drove to a desolate area on the town's edge, where they brutally ripped Botha. After trying to suffocate her, Botha briefly lost consciousness but continued to fight for life. Frustrated, they stabbed her at least 30 times, leaving her organs spilling out of her body. Dutoit specifically aimed to mutilate her reproductive organs, but thankfully, he failed. When they saw Botha's leg twitch, they slashed her throat 16 times, determined to finish the attack. Botha later stated she could hear a wet sound. It was the sound of my flesh being slashed open. He was cutting my throat with the knife, again and again and again. After the brutal attack, Botha heard the men say, "Do you think she's dead?" "No one can survive that," the other replied. Satisfied, Dutoit and Kruger walked away, leaving her for dead. Fearing she might not survive, Botha wrote her attackers' names in the dirt at the crime scene. Then, spotting car headlights in the distance, she knew if she could reach the road, someone might help her. As Botha moved toward the headlights, she became fully aware of her injuries. When she tried to lift herself up, her head began to fall backward, a result of her near decapitation. She also felt something very slimy protruding from her abdomen. She soon realized this was her own intestines. With one hand, she held her organs in place, and with the other, she had to literally support her own head. After struggling to reach the road, she collapsed at the roadside, hoping someone would see her and help. Shortly after, a veterinary student named Tian Eilerd found Botha and immediately came to her aid. Botha was rushed to the hospital, where doctors were shocked by the severity of her injuries. Dr. Alexander Angelov later remarked that in 16 years of practice, he had never seen wounds so extreme. Botha was on the verge of death, but managed to pull through. While in hospital, Botha remembered every detail about her attackers, which enabled her to easily identify them. Dutoit and Kruger were soon arrested and found guilty, each sentenced to life in prison. However, after serving 28 years, both were granted parole in July 2023.